We are back. War College, Rubenawa, Dr. Dan Schneider. We're going to be talking about we're going to be asking Dr. Dan some questions some of the audience have sent in. And it has to do with what we've been talking about, this transgender movement. And so, Dan, I'm going to just ask you, what evil spirit is active in the whole transgender movement? Does he have a name?
Yeah, there's multiple. This is from Father Ripperger on his videos. He's got a three-part video on generational spirits, which was worth watching. He notes also that in the new rite of exorcism, which I can tell you from experience and my own experience and observation, is not nearly as effective. There's no imprecatory prayers, no direct addressing the demon in imprecatory form, and they've removed from the spirit of fornication, deliver us. And the old litany of saints, it's from the spirit of fornication, deliver us. So that was one of the litanies.
Yes.
So again, if you don't pray for it, you don't get it. Prayer begets what it signifies. And so Father talks about 5 demons. So here's what he says. Once it begins with fornication. Okay. The spirit of fornication, the first of all, the demon of impurity. He said the principle here, his function is to get the culture to succumb through impurity and fornication to make sure that the conjugal act is disordered. And as being ordered towards children is lost. It just becomes pleasure. Okay. That's what impurity does. Following that, he says the next 3 demons, Asmodeus, the demon of homosexuality in men, and then Leviathan, which is the demon of homosexuality, but of the masculine kind. And then the spirit of Lilith, which is the demon of female homosexuality. After those have gained ascendancy to a culture, and by the way, every culture, he says, historically is pushed in this direction, the 5th general, Baphomet, the demon of child sacrifice or modern day abortion. So you begin with impurity, you begin distorting the generals, and then then human sacrifice becomes something that is acceptable. So this is what he says. They've shot down liberal legislators have shot down fornication laws. So they delivered us into the hands of Baal, impurity. And then they had Roe v. Wade shot down and delivered us into the hands of Baphomet. Then they legalized homosexual marriage. So now that the country is politically in hold of the top 5 demons in hell. That's where we're at right now. The more sin that people commit, the more empowered the demons become, and it actually gets worse. That's what Father Ripperger says. And so pushing back, knowing that this is the big strategy plan of where we're at. General Chesty Puller, famous Marine, one of my favorite quotes. He said, they asked him, he was in Korea. I think it was a major at the time. Major Puller, give us a situation report. What's your status? He said, our situation, we're surrounded. That simplifies the problem. Right. Yeah. Reason about what direction we shoot at, we'll hit one. So knowing that, yeah, the battle seems kind of grave right now. But then again, we see the game is on. It's battle time. In our lifetime, just this year, Roe v. Wade was defeated, which is why you're seeing such an uptick of diabolic activity elsewhere, because half our states now have abortion is now illegal. You just heard Terry in the last commercial break saying we will not support Amazon because they're paying for abortions for their employees to fly them to abortion providing states. And so these are the demons that are at work or at play that are at work right now that we have to just militate against.
Got it. Okay. So the next question, what's the danger with watching horror movies?
Yeah. Horror movies, again, what are you letting into your home? You know what I mean? What is going into, what are you letting into your home as a Catholic? Is this a Catholic home? Anything, this is what the devil looks for. He looks for inconsistencies, right?
Oh, right.
He looks for inconsistencies. So anything that is inconsistent with the indelible mark of baptism needs to be rejected. Right. So, so if you have that indelible mark of baptism and you're going to Las Vegas to party because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, that's an inconsistency. Being consistent in who you are. So allowing this stuff into your home, it just lowers the guard. Right. It lowers your guard. And also it fuels the sin of curiosity. Right. The sin of curiosity. We had went to a house. The parish priest asked me to accompany. We went to a house that was having all sorts of preternatural, diabolic stuff happening. And it turned out that the house was the previous tenant of this house was a was the little town's curandera. So she was the witch, and she practiced all sort of witchcraft. So this house already glowed in the dark. So,
Yeah.
we get the pastor's there. He has the authority. We get the landlord and the tenant. And Father goes through one of the rituals from Father Ripperger's book on blessing of places suspected of malefice of place. And we go through, and the guy told me, "Hey, yeah, I got both my TVs have blown up." I'm like, just blew up? He said, "Yeah, they just one day started on fire." I said, "Okay, so what are you watching? Are you watching porn?" "No, I'm not watching any porn." "What are you watching, EWTN? You having a conversion? Now you're turning on EWTN?" "No, I'm not watching EWTN. I'm just nothing. I don't know what's going on." So we're walking through the house, and I'm just the bird dog, on the team.
Yeah.
and I start looking at the movies, start going through his movies. I'm like, "Hey, what's this?" And he starts pulling out some of the most disgusting B film horror movies you can imagine. In his little mind, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not porn.
Yeah.
These are disgusting. Just horrible movies. I'm like, dude, get rid of that.
Okay.
Get rid of it. Get it out of your house. Because you've got a perfect storm. You got a house that already has been used as a portal to bring evil into the world. You're now participating in evil, but you got the mark of baptism, and indelible mark of baptism. The demon's like, I can party with that guy because he's not living his indelible mark. And then next thing you know, so when does it get bad? Well, when I don't go to mass. When does it get good? When I go to confession, and then I go to mass every week, there's no problems in my house. I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
So
why does he keep doing that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it can open. And another thing too is that when you watch horror movies, remember what the demon has access, what Father Ripperger calls the data set in the imagination. So our pre-intellection, what we think, our thoughts, our cognition is shaped by our what Thomas called the pre-intellection or antecedent intellect, but we're talking about the imagination. So all those images in your imagination that the demon has access to. So when you look at unholy movies and read unholy books, the demon has access to that and can now use that. It can start to distort your own thinking and project into your mind unholy thoughts. And those images are embedded there. The images of murder, the images of torture, whatever's in those garbage movies, all that stuff gets embedded into your imagination. So not only are you letting this garbage into your house and for your children, right? But you're also letting it into your own spiritual house, your own interiority, that the demon now has more data to work with you.